This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to DBL. It is Thursday, April 16th. I'm Tori. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay alone in the studio, but my fellow co-hosts are safe and staying inside. And two of them, super cool dudes. They're joining me right now. Dudes isn't a cool word. It's Al Jackson and Brandon London. Hello. How are you? Al, let's start with you. How you feeling?
I'm okay. I feel good. Like, what's going on with you? I miss you guys. What's up, Brandon?
I know. B. Lund, how you doing?
After seeing Al Jackson's romper on Instagram the other day, I'm in great spirits. Great spirits. Miss you, brother.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Al. I think we have a picture. This was posted only yesterday. Oh, we don't have a picture. Next show, okay, we're going to let you guys know. Go to Instagram and check out Al Jackson. It's a shocker. More and more Americans, just so you guys now know, are feeling the effects from the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders issued all around the nation. Another 5.2 million Americans filed for unemployment just last week. That means altogether 22 million have filed since mid-March. That is roughly, are you ready for this? 13.5% of the entire labor force unemployed. So when will the shutdown be over? When can the economy get back to normal? The president promised to deliver his guidelines to reopen America today. He also said that some states would open before May 1st. In a handful of states yesterday, protesters gathered together, ignoring all social distancing rules, angry about the lockdown orders that they called tyrannical. This was the scene in Michigan, where thousands of protesters gathered around the state capitol. Some did wear masks, others did not. They were gathered without any protection. It was all organized by the Michigan Conservative Coalition. They also created this, a huge bumper-to-bumper traffic jam around the Capitol building. Meantime, in Raleigh, North Carolina, more than 100 protesters rallied against the stay-at-home order, saying there's an unconstitutional overreach that's killing the state's small businesses. One woman was arrested and charged with violating the executive order. Real quick, I just want to go to Al and let you know, in 1918, during the Spanish flu, people thought it was safe, and there was something called the second wave. I'm going to see if any of you, both of you, make a guess of how many Americans died in 1 month in October in 1918. Al, start with you. What do you think the number was?
I'll say 50,000.
50,000. Brandon, what do you think?
I believe 28,000.
28,000. The answer is 195,000 people died in 1 month.
Oh, wow.
So that is what we call a second wave in a pandemic. And how do you feel about this, Brandon, seeing all those people together?
Tori, I think it's just the people who were covered without a mask, I think it's just as irresponsible as the spring breakers down in Florida. Yeah. Like I understand what they are doing. I understand the effects that a lot of people are feeling right now, but just because of what you just mentioned, that second wave is the reason why a lot of people are still fearful, not only to go outside, but for the country in some of our cities to open back up. So it was very irresponsible in a lot of people's end that showed up for that rally.
I agree with you, Al. You and I both believe strongly in protesting and as their right. Do you think they still have a right to do this?
I mean, the question is, what are they protesting? They're protesting the governor, but the governor didn't just do this because she was bored one afternoon. This is a public health crisis, and when she took an oath to protect the citizens of Michigan, and that's what I believe that she's doing. It's unpleasant for everybody. Everybody is worried about their economics, but what good is economics if most of the people around you are sick and can't come patronize your business anyway? I don't want to call it selfish. I think it's desperate. I think people are scared and confused, but this is a public health crisis. Take the governor out of this. This has nothing to do with the governor. This is a public health crisis. The virus can't see.
Yes, it's absolutely right. Speaking of the economy, millions of Americans got their stimulus payments deposited into their bank accounts this week, but a lot of those people are at risk now of losing the money to debt collectors. This is so ironic. 3 major retail banks said yesterday that they would pause collection on people who had overdrawn their accounts. But get this, nearly a third of Americans, I'm talking about 71 million adults, have debt in collection, and that might mean your stimulus check could be taken if you owe credit card, medical, or private student loan debts. Meantime, these two congressmen are proposing payments of $2,000 a month for most Americans until the economy recovers. Al, I have to imagine if you're Andrew Yang, who came up with the idea of giving $1,000 to every American every month, you're like, yo, this was my idea.
Yeah, it really does let you know, like, it all, you know, the message is received by who is the messenger, huh? What a difference a couple of months makes. I mean, this is kind of just showing us that economically, you know, we are all prone to disaster. Sometimes it happens in different points of our life. This just happens to have happened to everybody at the same time. And I do think this is something we should pay attention to. And for the people that are anti giving people money, just remember how you feel today.
Yeah.
When we're 6 years past this, 5 years past this, you'll have a different opinion. But remember how you feel today when you're worried about where your next few meals are coming from.
Very true. All right, Brandon, this one's for you. If you live by yourself or you're single, these stay-at-home orders can get pretty lonely, right? You know what I'm saying? And what are you supposed to do if you match with someone on a dating site like Tinder and you want to meet up? Well, actually, Dr. Fauci, the doctor of love, is weighing in now, talking to Vanity Fair. He seemed to give his stamp of approval, saying, quote, if you're willing to take a risk, and you know, everybody has their own tolerance for risks, you could figure out if you want to meet somebody. That's a diplomatic way of saying it's up to you. Brandon, if you happen to match with someone, would you take that risk on Tinder? This is riveting news.
I haven't been on a dating app in quite some time, but Tori, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't think I could, because where are you going to go? Where are you guys going to go? Stand by the stop sign and with mask on and have a conversation? It's not like you can be in any sort of intimate situation to where there's beautiful lighting or there's drinks or even dinner per se, because let's be honest, it is a date. So I think right now, I believe this is the time where if you match with someone on Tinder, do the Skype thing. Talk to them, get to know this person, be a little bit before you get physical with someone and actually meet up with them.
Wow, Al Jackson, our own B. London, is growing up, huh? Big,
right before our eyes.
Right before I feel like mom and dad are so proud of you, B. Lund. Good job. I agree with you. I think
it only took a pandemic.
Just a pandemic. That's all it takes. Coming up on DBL, we've got more on intimacy in the time of Corona when our very own, get this, Dr. Pyle Coley gives us her expert opinion on this touchy topic. Pun intended. You don't want to miss that. And later, Erica chats with game show royalty, my hero, Ken Jennings, how he's doing at home, and the show that's putting his brain to the test. We should all be watching it. We'll be right back.
I have a car.
Welcome back to DBL. We're all about facts, not fear, and wondering what Dr. Payal Kohli is wearing today, and of course, providing information to keep you and your loved ones safe. So let's see, Dr. Payal Kohli. Ooh, it's a polka-dotted leopard print.
No, actually, it's salt and pepper.
Oh.
More pepper than salt because I'm a cardiologist, but salt and pepper.
You are turning into just my favorite human. Dr. Payal Kohli joins us live again, this time to talk about, intimacy during a pandemic. So, Doc, first of all, why is it important to talk about what goes on in the bedroom during these times? Because you wanted to talk about this, am I right?
You know, Tori, I think it's really important to talk about this because there are a lot of uncertainties right now and there are a lot of questions, and people are not asking these questions because they don't sure that they should, or they're embarrassed, or what have you. But I think it's a really important part of everyday life, and it's really important that we talk about it and talk about the medical implications of being intimate during a pandemic.
I appreciate that, honestly, because that's what I would want my doctor to be like. I could talk to you honestly. All right, so what do you think we should be thinking about when making decisions about getting intimate during a pandemic?
So I think the most important question to ask yourself before you decide to get intimate, is who you're getting intimate with, and really to understand how the virus is spread. I think that's critically important. So let's talk about it. So we know it's spread by close contact. So holding hands with someone or hugging someone could certainly be ways to spread the virus. We also know that it's spread through saliva and secretions, respiratory secretions. So kissing somebody would also be a way to spread it. Now, there's a study from China that looked at 10 women with severe SARS-CoV-2 virus with the COVID disease who were in the ICU, and there was no evidence of any viral particles in their sexual fluids. And we also know from other coronaviruses that sex, aside from the close contact, does not usually transmit the virus. So as long as we have that framework about how the virus is spread, it really helps us to understand how intimate to be with people and, what our risk is going to be if we are.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that about that. Talk to me about sexual partners. Any advice there, Doc?
Yeah, I do have some advice. So my first piece of advice would be that this is not a time for new sexual partners or sexual partners that you don't know very well. And the reason is because, again, the social distancing piece is really important. You don't know who they might have been exposed to, and you're basically exposing yourself to those people. So I would say it's most important to stick with your regular partner or someone that's close to you or whose activity patterns you know, so that you can understand if they may have had a potential exposure. You know where they go, you know who they see, you know what they do during their day.
Yeah, it's like a creeper, but to be honest, you just need to know their activity patterns is a good way of saying it. We had one viewer write in saying she's been in quarantine with her boyfriend for over a month, but he went to the post office, and now she's wondering, should I wait 2 weeks to be intimate?
This is a great question. So there are some reasons to think about skipping intimacy during a pandemic, and this is one of those. So if there's a possible exposure to either partner, whether that's a real exposure or a potential exposure, such as going to the post office and being in close contact with someone, I would probably recommend avoiding intimacy for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Other reasons to avoid being intimate are if either person is actually sick, if they've got any kind of symptoms, or if either of them have tested positive for the virus. Then you need to make sure that you wait at least 2 weeks until after the resolution of their symptoms to think about being intimate again.
Wow, that's good to know, actually. Before we go, it is, of course, time for our favorite part of the day. Dr. Kohli, silver lining, hallelujah. What do you have for us today?
So today, actually, I think it's very fitting with what we've been talking about. It's the power of the human touch. So I think this pandemic has really brought out in all of us an appreciation for a hug, a kiss, holding hands, spending time with someone, things that we had previously taken for granted. And I think that it'll really make us appreciate those a lot more once we can hopefully soon go back to doing those without giving it as much thought as we have to now.
I mean, it's weird because I got to be honest with you, you know me, I'm a hugger. Like, I go straight in for the hug, and it's almost like you're missing part of your diet when you're a toucher and you're hands-on person, but I do think you'll be so much more thankful. So I appreciate that.
Even a high five or a handshake, like I'm missing all that.
I know. I'll give you one when we get there. Thank you so much, Doc. Dr. Kohli returns tomorrow. If you do have a question about coronavirus you want answered, write into us on social media. You can email us also at info@dailyblastlive.com. There's no panic here. There is just prevention and precautions. We're here for you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. This man holds the record for most consecutive wins on Jeopardy and is now featured on a new show on Game Show Network. Brink! Who is Ken Jennings? No one's here. Thanks, Sharon. Earlier, Erica sat down with Ken to talk about it and life in quarantine for the Brainiac in today's DBL Spotlight.
Ken Jennings, hi. Welcome back to DBL. We're always so excited to have you.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
So we're here to talk about your new show on Game Show Network, Masterminds. But first, we have to do a well-being check and see how you're handling quarantine.
We're doing pretty well here at the Jennings home in Seattle. We're in about, Seattle's been doing hungered down for about a month now, so we are old pros.
Well, yeah, because for people who don't know, you guys in Washington were one of the first states quarantined. So you've been at this longer than most. How are you feeling about the response and how it's being handled right now?
Up here, it's been really great. I mean, it's been over a month since employers started to tell workers to start working from home where possible. So we started early, and the great thing about that means we've really flattened the curve, and we're probably, coming out of it earlier than we would have otherwise. Seattle's a rainy city, so people aren't that bummed about staying indoors anyway. And I'm an introvert anyway, so this is perfect. I love canceling plans with people.
It's one of my favorite things, too. So let's talk about Mastermind, because you guys were in production when the state went under quarantine. So what was it like being on set and how that was handled in order to halt production?
Masterminds actually finished taping before quarantine started in California, so we were very lucky. So on the show, you'll see us probably high-fiving and shaking hands, and you'll be like, no! But it's okay. If somebody wins, we give them a big hug because they deserve it. It's hard to beat one of the masterminds.
Yeah, it's almost like we took a pause in any distancing or being close. So when we see people like embracing, it's almost in the back of our minds like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But I'm glad that you guys finished production before all of this started. Now, you are very close with Alex Trebek. Have you spoken to him since the quarantine and the pandemic? And how is he doing the last time you spoke with him?
The guy's 79 and he's battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he's just annoyed he can't go to work. I feel like Jeopardy is keeping Alex with us.
Good. It seems like work is truly therapy for him, and it seems like work, especially being a mastermind, is truly therapy for you too. So there's so many people at home in quarantine. I know that I'm watching all the shows, binge watching. What makes Mastermind something that people will get as excited about as we've all been excited about you?
Well, it's comfort food. Like, the beautiful thing about Game Show Network is every time I turn it on, it reminds me of being homesick from 3rd grade, and you get to watch all your daytime game shows when you're homesick from school. And now that we're all homesick from school, what better way to spend an afternoon than watching some fun old-timey game shows where people clap a lot and win money, and you can yell out answers from the couch, and sometimes you're going to feel smarter than Ken Jennings.
Ken, I'm pretty sure that that is a rarity to feel smarter than Ken Jennings. As a Jeopardy junkie, I can tell you, I think there was maybe one time in a pop culture answer that I answered before you did, and I'm still pretty proud of that. So I will be tuning into Mastermind to get just one more answer that you can't get.
That's fair enough.
Ken, I just want to thank you for your time. We'll all be tuning in to Mastermind on Game Show Network during quarantine and beyond. Thanks again. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're all making the best of quarantine, but we know how hard it can be. So we have a few items that will help make isolation just a little bit better. It's time for DBL Deal Blast, presented by MorningSave.com. And we have the lovely Steph Jones joining us from her home to help us out.
This is the Hypergear Mini Boom portable Bluetooth speaker. Now this is amazing because it's really small. You can move it anywhere in the house. If you want to be in the bath or in the garden, play music. Tori, this is normally as much as $50, but right now it's only $10.
Ooh, I would totally use that in
I
the
love
bath.
this. So this is the Power to Go portable jump starter kit with 600 peak cold cranking amps, and it comes in this cute little case,
nice.
which fits perfectly in your glove box, and you can charge your phone too. So normally it's $100. Right now it's only $35, saving 65%, Tori. Is the Glossmetics Luxe 4-in-1 Sonic Facial Cleansing and Exfoliating Set.
Yes.
Now normally these are $130, Tori, but right now it's $20. So you're saving 85%. It's the Great Bay Home Arden Collection 15-pound reversible weighted blanket, which is why I'm struggling to pick it up because it's so heavy.
That's
I
good.
know, but these are normally $150. $150, Tori, but right now it's $39, which is saving, are you ready? 74%.
Round of applause. Stephanie, I think Vanna White's looking in her rearview mirror. Someone's coming to get her job. Awesome job. Most prepared person in quarantine. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit morningsave.com just on your smartphone. Send it to a family member, a friend. Say I'm thinking about you. Thank you so much, Steph. Looks good. Now, before we go today, we want to share this heartwarming video. This new mom was just released from the hospital after recovering from COVID-19. She had to have an emergency C-section and was actually on a ventilator. This is the first time she got to hold her baby boy in her arms. And now she gets to go home to her new family. Al, did we make you cry yet? Because that's my goal every day.
Well, the thing is that I already looked at that one, so that's why you didn't get me. I already been tempered in steel. You know me, the military coming home, and any kid that's been born deaf and he can hear for the first time, receive for the first time, those get me every time.
When they say mama, or they can hear their mom speak when they're deaf, it's amazing. Brandon, do you tear up with this emotionally? Are you invested in these?
Absolutely, because I mean, anytime we look at these type of stories, whether it be motivational or it's someone that beat COVID-19, I mean, it's a story that gives us some sort of hope. And I think that's what we're all doing, sitting in our houses and apartments waiting for some sort of hope. So these are the type of stories that I love being a part of DBL for, because it brings a smile on not only my face, but DBL Nation's face and the rest of the nation.
Wow, you are growing up. You're so mature and amazing. To all expectant mothers, we're thinking of you. We know it's a hard time out there. Thanks, Al and Brandon. Stay safe. Reminder, we're on Facebook and YouTube. We'll all see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.